You know that old saying, when it rains, it pours? Well, lately, it's been a lot more like when it snows, it dumps. This has been one of, if not the coldest winters we've experienced here in Maine since moving here a decade ago, and we were not prepared for this one. As recently as this fall, the plan was to be living in this A-frame by now, but as soon as winter hit, that overly optimistic plan froze up fast. It's been a season of setbacks and playing catch-up. So let me explain how we got to this point, what's been getting in the way of build progress, and the plan to make it through one of the coldest winters here in Maine. I spent the final days of fall on a mission to get the house completely dried in. I also was hoping to get a frame built so our solar panels could be installed. But this solar array frame is where I hit the first of many problems that would snowball and threaten the entire plan to dry the house in. Building the solar array frame turned out, like most things, to be harder than I expected. It took me a while to land on a design that got the panels off the ground, held the right angle, and didn't put the frame way up in the air. After the first rafter went up, everything seemed to be on track. Until I recounted the panels and realized I'd messed up. Every panel wasn't going to fit on that frame. But with each day getting colder and winter closing in, figuring out a solution for the solar panels would have to wait. I needed to finish getting the roof ready to install the metal panels. That meant finishing the purlins the metal roof would attach to. There was just one small problem. I was out of the lumber I used for this on the other side of the roof. Luckily, I had plenty of 2x4s, which, if I split them lengthwise down the center, would be the perfect size. As I installed the final pre-cut piece, I was already planning the jig I'd need on my table saw to cut each board to a consistent thickness. With all the boards cut and a big rainstorm in the forecast, I was determined to finish installing the purlins. Well, I finally did it. I got this side of the roof done. Well, all the purlins. Boy, oh boy. I am so glad that that's done. I still had one more critical task to tackle before I could start the metal roof. That meant framing in the final window and getting the sheathing up to keep rain and snow out until we could order doors and windows. Once the wall was mostly closed in, I could finally move on to the metal roof. Getting to this point felt huge. A real milestone in the build. For a moment, my overly ambitious timeline actually felt possible. And that's when the real process began. I decided to pre-drill all the screw holes in each panel. It wasn't strictly necessary, but I knew once I was working off ropes on the roof, there wouldn't be much room for error. My earlier attempts at driving self-tapping screws straight through the metal had already scratched the paint. Once the holes were drilled, I could carefully move each panel into position, making sure not to bend it. Then came the slow part, getting each panel straight and square. Only then could I finally screw it all the way down. I had to repeat that process for every single panel, and being new to metal roofing and really not wanting to mess anything up, I did plenty of overthinking and second guessing along the way. After about a week, much longer than I had hoped, I finally got the first row of panels installed. Just in time for the first big snow of winter. Trudging through the snow up the driveway, I couldn't help but wonder if winter was about to shut the whole project down. And that's when it hit me. This winter was different. The mild Decembers we'd had in past years, enough to melt early snow, weren't happening. That first layer of snow stuck around, creating a whole new set of problems and leaving me wondering if or when I'd even get back to the roof. For now, with temperatures far colder than I'd planned, I had to tackle an entirely new set of tasks just to reach the A-frame and to stay warm back at home in the yurt. It was only early December, and I was in a bit of denial that construction might already be grinding to a halt. But before I could do anything else, I had to clear a path through the snow, just to move around and get access to what I needed. Last winter, I tried to keep building through the snow and cold, and it ended up taking more time than it was worth. I'd clear everything out, it would warm up and melt, and then it would snow all over again. It was an exercise in futility I did not want to repeat. As I cleared snow, my mind ran through every possible scenario that might buy me a little more building time, but the outlook wasn't great. Luckily, I had the crucial task of restocking firewood to distract me from the reality that the build might be shut down for the winter, well short of my goal of having the metal roof fully installed and the house dried in. And because I was so confident we wouldn't be spending another winter in the yurt, I didn't prepare firewood the way I normally do over the summer. We'd burned through the stockpile at the yurt much faster than in previous years.
This is basically what most of my days have looked like lately. Whoa.
Winters like this don't leave much room for pushing the build. So, the plan shifts to getting through it. Adding a propane heater in the yurt, staying ahead of firewood, and keeping access open no matter how much snow falls. The building will wait, but the planning won't. This is the time to line up what comes next, so when things finally thaw out, I'm ready to pick up right where I left off.
I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to get back to working on the A-frame full time. A lot of that will depend on how the rest of the winter goes. But in the meantime, I'd love to share a little bit more about what it's been like living in the yurt for the past almost 10 years. So let me know if there's things you're interested in or have questions about. And thanks for watching. Appreciate the support, and I hope to see you back in the next one. See you later.
Oh gosh. Oh. I don't mind the snow that much, but it's the ice that I can't stand. I really wish the only ice we had here in Maine was on the ponds and the ice rinks, and all the other ice would just take a hike. All right, remember, the world's crazy right now, so kindness is really important. Peace.